Hi, everyone. It's Jason Neufeld again from elderneedslaw.com. And to remind you, I'm doing this interview series because I'm just an elder law attorney, and there are so many other resources out there that not everyone knows about. And so it's my goal to bring these resources to you. And I'm thrilled today to have on the show a good friend. His name is Gary Barg. He is the CEO and editor-in-chief of the Caregiver Media Group. He's the editor-in-chief of the Fearless Caregiver magazine, Caregivercom, their Fearless Caregiver conferences, of which I am honored to say that I've been a part of a number of them. Gary's also an author. He's authored at least 3 books. So you got the Fearless Caregiver, Caregiving Ties That Bind, and You Are Not Alone. And Gary, I think there's a 4th book behind you. You'll tell us all about that. But Gary, welcome. Thank you for being here. Tell us more about yourself. Tell us more about caregiver.com.
Thank you. It's a privilege, and the tables are turned now. You're interviewing me, so we're always so pleased when you join us in person, and when we can ever do that again, and even virtually, coming up on April 22nd for the Palm Beach area, and recently for the Broward area, because I think the caregivers we really want to know somebody personally. We don't care how much you know till we know how much you care. Absolutely. And I love the panels that we put together because it really shows experts, professionals who really know their stuff and really care. So,
yeah, and just to give people a little context, Gary puts on these Fearless Caregiver conferences. Usually they're in person. Recently they've been virtually. And he fills up auditoriums, and it's just caregivers coming to learn about what else is out there. So in that way, we share the same mission. Right here, we're here to support you. We're here to show you what you can do. And he has these great panels, but I don't say so myself. I tend to be on them, where it's sometimes it's me as the lawyer, and then he has folks who represent other caregiving or elder law or senior or disabled related industries, whether it might be someone from a hospice provider, it may be a doctor's organizations. He's had medical marijuana producers or distributors talking about the benefits of that. It's all these things. He auctions off, special chairs that are specially made for the elderly. There are folks who represent cruises that cater to an elderly, disabled, dementia-related population more than what you can think of. And so he brings people together, and everyone comes out significantly more educated when they came in and feeling a sense of relief. It's palpable. And Gary, you just do such a great job at these caregiving conferences.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we started, just to take it back a notch, my dad, I'm born and raised in South Florida. Mm-hmm. My dad retired in 90, developed bone marrow cancer, passed away in 91. My grandparents took ill in the mid 90s, and I was out of town. I was living in Atlanta getting set up to do video work for the 96 Olympics. Mm-hmm. And mom was, caregiver extraordinary. And she wouldn't really tell us. My brother was out of town too. My sister had 2 little kids, and she wouldn't really let on, about what was going on. But I had about a 2-week period before all these projects started, and I came in to help her out. And you can't fake it for 2 weeks. You can't hide it from your loved ones because she was a caregiver. She didn't want us to suffer like she was. And so after living with her care as her caregiver's caregiver for those 2 weeks, I said, I got to come home. I'm not going to pretend I didn't see what she was going through. And in the summer of 95, we put out the first issue of today's Caregiver magazine. In that October, we launched Caregiver.com, which won the first 100,000 websites in existence. So that's kind of cool.
Wow.
And in 98, we started our in-person conferences. We've done 287 before the pandemic, and now 2, coming on 3, virtual events. Mm-hmm. And everything's about and for family caregivers. We do weekly newsletters where what we learn a lot of times at the conferences from other caregivers, from the CDC, whatever it is, we share with family caregivers because we want them to become fearless advocates for their loved ones and for themselves. And because we consider a fearless caregiver to be another member of the care team. There's a doctor, the therapist, the elder care attorney, and the Fearless Caregiver, and you're the manager of all these services, and
Sure.
you need to know what you need to know. And that's one of the reasons for the events. We travel where people are, as opposed to saying, come to some national event. We'll go to the communities. We've done these events in 47 cities and
Wow.
26 states so far. And, we're, until we can all be in the same room again together, we're going to keep doing it virtually because the connection is there. And you probably saw
Yeah.
the questions that were, instead of raising your hand, people were, using chats and Q&A, but the questions and the comments and the concerns were coming fast and furious, just like the live events.
The story about your mother really hits home because I think it's a very common theme, which is caregivers often feel like they have to suffer in silence and that they have to take the burden on all themselves. That really isn't the case. And these caregiving conferences show that's not the case. I've seen people at your conferences go there and they're just crying on someone else's shoulder just to be able to unburden themselves and just get out the frustration, and they feel guilty about it, and they don't have to feel guilty about it. So you're not only giving them an outlet to vent their frustrations, then you're also giving them, say, something they can take home that's making them a little bit more fearless, a little bit more powerful. So we have this newsletter that you send out weekly. Is it a free newsletter?
Yeah, it's free. It's you go to caregiver.com, sign up. It comes out twice weekly. Sometimes, usually on Tuesdays, we'll tell stories of caregivers who have exhibited fearlessness, how they dealt with their doctors, how they got communicate with their loved ones, how they got their family members to help seriously.
Right.
Very
good.
On Thursday, I write a column, and then we have just tons and tons of very caregiver-friendly, user-specific articles. I mean, every year, and it's coming up again, the nomination period's coming up, we do a caregiver-friendly award for books, products, services, media, organizations that really put the caregivers first. And a lot of times people read about these and they say, hey, we could do this in our company. Hey, this is great, piece of advice. So as much as honoring these caregiver-friendly recipients, we're also hopefully setting, a mission and standards for other people around the country.
So you're going to caregiver.com to sign up for this newsletter. What else is on caregiver.com? What other resources can people find on that website?
Well, there's native articles. There's lots and lots of articles. There's commentary. There's interaction. There's chat. Everything is for and about, and a lot of times by family caregivers. That's really the mission, to help the caregivers see that we as caregivers are the CEO of Caring for Our Loved Ones, Inc. And we have to put our teams together. We have to learn what we can, and we have to find those resources in our communities, which is why we travel, now virtually, but before, and again, hopefully soon, in real time, in real life, travel to these different communities, because all caregiving is national in implication. You need to know what's going on in DC, so social service, Medicare, Medigap, but local in application. You need to know who those local services are: hospice, the area agency, the elder attorneys, trust attorneys, the organizations in your community. If I was sitting in Peoria, Illinois, doing an event, and all I talked about was Dade County, Florida resources, I'm not helping them too much.
Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, that's what I love the most about the Fearless Caregiving conferences is, all the experts are local that you have up there, all the research, everyone, you have these, the sponsored tables of people, everyone there is local, everyone there is ready to help the people who are actually attending the function and more. So we have caregiver.com to sign up for the Fearless Caregiver Newsletter. Caregiver.com itself is its own resource, and they have a directory for other local resources in your community. And tell us again, the next Caregiver conference that is still being held virtually. It's focused around Palm Beach County, but certainly anyone from anywhere can attend and get some value. When is that again?
It's April 22nd. And of course, come to caregiver.com. or reach out to my email, or is Gary@caregiver.com. Just
Great.
reach out. Complimentary tickets. We never have and never will charge a family caregiver for a ticket to the event. And what's interesting, this book here, You Are Not Alone, is actually a book of the tips and the techniques and the advice and the information and the wisdom we found from the audience of family caregivers in all these rooms, in all these amazing rooms of caregiving. The people have figured some piece of the puzzle out that other caregivers need, and other caregivers, figured some piece of the puzzle out. So because starting in March of last year, we couldn't get around and being in the rooms together, and I would generally share them through the newsletters, we said, well, let's just look back and see what caregivers have told us. We came up with 200 plus pages of really insightful, manageable, usable tips and techniques for family caregivers by the family caregivers. So that was kind of cool.
What better way to get practical caregiving advice than from those caregivers who've been in the trenches before you? So that's excellent. So what we're going to do is in the show notes below the video, we're going to put a link to your website. We're going to put a link to how to register for the next conference. We'll put your general contact information, and I encourage everyone to visit caregiver.com. Go to the conferences when they resume in person, go to the virtual ones while you can, and this is all completely free. This is all just folks who are committed to providing you resources. Gary, thank you so much for joining us today and providing us more information about how we can help people in the community. I appreciate it.
Thanks for what you do, and I'll see you on April 22nd.
You got it.
Take care.
Goodbye.